The Grizzlies went from this
Green, who hopes to get healthy and be a part of this Memphis team,
to this.
Hyperbaric chambers he uses for recovery. The Los Angeles Lakers will advance by virtue of a 125-85 win. DeAngelo.
If you're an NBA fan like me, you're probably sitting on your couch or chair watching round 2 start today. Now, you're also probably thinking, why is it that the Grizzlies are doing the exact same thing heading into round 2? Well, in this video, we'll be discussing this. I will be bringing in some personal opinion along with a few stats here and there. And I just wanted to talk and start a dialogue on why I personally think that the Grizzlies had a major disappointment of a postseason. Now, Grizzlies fans, NBA fans, please let me know in the comments what you guys believe. Because personally, as I said, think this was a disappointment. Now, with that being said, let's talk some key talking points. To begin this, I want to talk about, first of all, a lot of credit goes to the Lakers, right? Because in this video, we'll be making excuses almost for the Grizzlies, but also reasons. But I want to give major props to the Lakers because, first of all, they made fantastic moves at the deadline, probably having the best deadline in the league. And also, purely off the fact that really going to this round, I personally, along a lot of the people that actually watch the NBA, not just the national media, a lot of the people that watch the NBA personally thought that the Grizzlies probably were going to win this series. Now, with all of that to the side, props to Lakers, but I want to talk about the biggest X factor, first of all, that you could say right off the top of my head, and that is Steven Adams. Now, Steven Adams was a huge part in last season's series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Personally, as a Timberwolves fan, I got to watch Karl-Anthony Towns play Steven Adams off the floor. But I also got to watch Steven Adams play every one of our guards off the floor. So it kind of went both ways. And personally, I think that he would have been an absolutely huge X factor going into this playoff run. And talking to a lot of Grizzlies fans, seems like they have the same notion. Now, Steven Adams, obviously a great rebounder, a great defender, and a great all-around role player. Personally, I think that he would have been key to not only limiting offensive rebounds and also gaining the defensive rebounds. I personally think that he would have been a stopper almost, a deterrent in the paint. And I know that he's not some elite paint defender, but when you're looking at this Grizzlies roster, having Jaren Jackson be your only real key defender, respectfully, love Brandon Clark, love a lot of the guys on their team, Santi Aldama, he's not a real defender. But I'll tell you, Steven Adams has a presence, along with his screen setting, that helps Ja Morant and Desmond Bane both tremendously, especially in the playoffs. With that being said, talking about their offense, talking about their backcourt, we can talk about Ja Morant. Ja Morant, obviously, was injured for one game during the series and technically half of a game for all intents and purposes because of a hand injury where he couldn't feel his hand. I don't know all the details, but it was pretty intense from what I've heard. So obviously good to see Ja Morant play, but this was a massive deal. Losing your star player was huge. And I know that they won the game. I'm pretty sure that Ja Morant was out, but I think having that continuity where you lose your star, especially in the playoffs, really does affect the team as a whole, right? You play well without your star and you start to think a lot of things in the locker room. You start to think a lot of things. You start to see a lot of things on Twitter. You start to see a lot of things on social media. You start to question a lot of things. You start to question, your star player, the guy that you just lost. You start to question coaching. Now, I'm not saying that this is exactly what happened, but it certainly seemed like, boom, Ja Morant comes out, whether that's the guys playing well, and maybe it's because they want to play well for their guy. They want to play well for Ja. Because Ja's out, can't do anything about it. They want to play well. And honestly, I think that's what it is. I've seen a lot of Twitter talk about how Ja Morant isn't good for the Grizzlies and how they are a better team without the Grizzlies. Or, sorry, a better team without Ja Morant. I just don't think that's necessarily the case, strictly due to the fact that it's Ja Morant, a straight up baller, a guy that necessarily is a terrible defender, right? He's a terrible defender, but he's one of those guys that his defense is really bad, but a very, very few select amount of players in this league can be so bad on defense, but have a significantly much larger gap in how much their offense affects the game. Ja Morant is one of those few players. So I think Ja Morant coming out, having some of that continuity throughout the playoffs may have been an issue. Love that they fought for their guy, but when Ja comes back, whether that is a chemistry problem, whether that is them saying, okay, we have Ja back, we can, take off some slack, we can see, we can speculate, don't quite know, and I don't think we'll ever know, but Ja Morant, obviously being injured, didn't help this playoff run. And now my final talking point is the momentum factor. Obviously, giving my credits to the Lakers, as I was saying earlier, this is going to be a bigger portion about the Lakers rather than it is the Grizzlies, because personally, I don't think the Grizzlies played their best basketball, but I don't think that's necessarily because the Grizzlies were trying or weren't trying or whatever you want to say. I think it's more so the Lakers came in with momentum. Now, what am I saying about this? What I'm saying is obviously them beating my Timberwolves in the play-in. They have sky-high expectations. They're also playing with no expectations at the same time. Now, the media may say the Lakers have a real championship identity crisis. And to be fair, you might be right. Obviously, last time they won a championship, being in the bubble year, say what you want about that, there's a lot of chips on shoulders, and especially LeBron and AD. Now, personally, I think the momentum swing, beating a team like the Timberwolves in the play-in, coming in, having, I believe, the highest Vegas odds to beat them, right? To beat the higher seed, which is pretty crazy to me. I could be wrong on that, but having at least that momentum there where people are believing in them, right? We hear a lot of trash talk about the Lakers for a long time. Now we see a lot of momentum switch. We see the Lakers are a real championship team. We see the Lakers could beat the Grizzlies in the first round. We see a complete switch. And I see Austin Reaves, right? I see LeBron. I see Rui. I see AD. I see whatever player you want to see. And I see them say, let's go. All right, this is our time to shine. I personally think that the momentum changed this series. Now, I think that's an unfortunate scenario for the Grizzlies because you can't really do anything about that, right? I think the Grizzlies are a fantastic team. And honestly, in a healthy 7-game series, 95% of the time I'm taking the Grizzlies, but the Lakers got the best of them this year. So, as I said, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. I personally enjoyed making this video because I love watching the Grizzlies. I love watching the Lakers. Now, to talk about these guys, it's really disappointing, but I have high expectations for the Grizzlies to come back next year and make a deep playoff run. Thank you guys for watching. It's Ben Jelson. See you guys in the next one. Peace.